Hello, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of GameStack Podcast. This is episode 83, Evergreen. I am your co-host, Venertron. Joining me this evening is the wonderful Rick McVick. Hello, Rick.
Howdy, howdy.
How you doing?
I'm doing swell. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. And also, the lovely Shalene. How are you, Shalene?
Hello, hello. I feel like we have a very NPR vibe this evening.
Guys, it's been a weird couple of weeks.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
So let me
It
tell you.
really has.
Let me tell you what happened. So 2 weekends ago, I decided to commit to doing a 16-kilometer hike in slushy snow, mud, and buffalo poop for 4 hours. The following day, I had instant tendonitis in my foot and could not walk for an entire week, which was terrible. I was on painkillers all week. It was awful. Not to mention I was writing this crazy grant that was due. Anyways, this past week has been a little bit better. I am now mobile. But I've got these terrible allergies. I feel a sneeze coming right now.
I was going to ask you, is that grant going to, carry you through university?
Well, the goal is to be able to fund my PhD for the next 2 years.
So technically it's a carry grant then.
Yes. Yeah. Just a little less snazzy.
Hi, folks.
Yeah.
None of
Anyways,
us.
how have
none
you
of
guys?
us-
How have you guys? How is your week? How are you guys doing?
It's been a week.
I don't want to talk about it.
Holy Christ! Well, welcome everybody. I hope you guys are
This
all.
is everybody's really feeling good right now about being
Mm,
here. You can see.
Mhm.
Gosh, poor
Um,
listeners. We're sorry.
Welcome to the show. This is our 83rd episode of GameStack.
That's wild.
That's
And we
cool.
we do these every other week.
Pretty
so-
soon, the three of us will be able to collect pension.
Mhm.
But before we get into today's show, we would like to throw out some honorable mentions and some things that you guys should keep apprised to Joshy Theater, which happens every Monday at, I think, noon Pacific Standard Time. Right now, he's making his way through the Marvel movie series from now through to July, and then I think he's probably going to continue it on. But I'm not sure. So if you're interested in the schedule, make sure you check out the Joshy Theater channel in our Discord. Sundays, Rick, you and Shalene do a thing on Sundays. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we've been doing Survival Horror Sundays. We've been playing the game called The Medium because it was free. And it took a really, really dark turn.
Boy,
That-
did it ever.
Really didn't need to take.
I
It's
came
just like-
in at the wrong
Yes.
time, and I was
Let's-
like, nope. I noped out of there like nobody's business.
That was a
Let's-
great choice, actually. Great
yeah.
call.
Let's just say the monster we banished at the end of it was called the Child Eater, and we'll leave it at that. Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was,
so
it was-
are you
it
gonna
was a
be
thing.
playing this game this
Yeah,
Sunday?
we're so far
We
into it.
have
gotta
to finish it.
You've committed now.
Yeah.
At this point, like I was telling Rick after with the stream went down last time, that it felt kind of like when The Walking Dead started to get bad. I just kept watching it because I was so heavily invested,
Yeah,
but I was angry every time I watched it.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at with the medium.
Okay.
Join us
okay.
on Sunday for two cynical people walking through a survival horror.
But the beginning of the game and the middle of the game was so strong. The storytelling was so good.
Yeah, it was.
I hope they're going to turn this thing around. I just it's why did they do that to us?
Yeah,
Rick, why?
it was a really weird story choice that they chose to. They've been kind of building this narrative to a certain extent that kind of led you to really believe there was some supernatural goings-ons, and then they're like, nope.
Mhm.
Hey,
and brought
those demons, they're inner.
inner demons, real bad. And it was like, we didn't need to come here. We didn't. We
Mhm.
thought we were headed to Disney World. You took us to Bob's Diddle Land, and we don't want to go there.
Well, if you
So-
would like some more weirdness, join Rick and Shalene on Sunday for the medium. Also, later on this coming Sunday, I'll be keeping up with the Book Nook, which is a new addition to our Discord community, in which I read a book that the community chooses. So the community has chosen that I make my way through Carl Sagan's Demon-Haunted World, Science as a Candle in the Dark. If you guys don't know who Carl Sagan is, he's a world-renowned philosopher and astronomer who has spent almost the entirety of his life defending science. And so this book is sort of his own personal bibliography and his experience in going through his career and the way he looks at science. We've made it through the preface in the first chapter. I'm very excited for the second and third chapter, which will be happening this Sunday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 8 Eastern Standard Time. And that will be directly in our Discord channel. If you are listening live this evening, don't forget to host us on Twitch. Tell your friends about the show. We record every Friday, but GameStack every second Friday, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames. And Shalene, can you take us through our new residents within the Discord and tell people how they can join the Discord?
I can do both of those things. So our Discord community is a fabulous place. I really enjoy it. And it brings me joy during these especially difficult weeks when I just want to be anywhere else. I can go to the Discord for a while and hang out with you lovely people in there. And some new lovely people have joined the Discord, including 49ers GM, Fried Badger 69, Raven's View, Numb to It All, Salt Boy 610, Sparta 67 DT, Blarg.
I put that one at the end because I knew you were going to do
Yes, of course. I mean, how could I not? And you can join the fine people, including Blarg, by clicking the Discord link right at the bottom of our Twitch page. That link is there whether the channel is live or not. Alternately, you can send us a message on social media and we will get you that link.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of the castle of
Yeah.
Oh, he must have died while writing it then.
Yeah.
He wouldn't write it out if he were dying. That whole bit, yeah, it's good fun stuff.
Well, I'm happy to report that none of us are in the top 3 for top message members in our Discord anymore.
No?
Taking the top 3 spots, number 1, Captain Bones, number 2, RTZ13, and number 3, Tim Twig. So, congratulations, gentlemen. You have moved
Lovely.
into the top spot. GIF
Got a little
Wars.
threesome going on up there.
Yeah, GIF Wars, Fallout 76, and Lobby continue to be the top message channels. And Joshy Theater has now surpassed Dick's Picks Radio for the top voice channel.
Nice.
Naturally,
Nice.
Because movies are, X
Longer.
amount of hours long. But yeah, that's some stats
Cool.
coming in from our Discord. Today we're going to talk about news. We're also going to bring you through the stock market, which is doing quite well this past few days. I have a small game science segment that I'm going to talk about, and then we're going to go through our gameplay, and that'll be a show. So, without further ado, this just in. Rick, we've got some new releases for April. Do you want to take us through that list?
I don't. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I do. I do. We have. It's not a huge list. Apparently, April doesn't bring video games. So starting it off on April 1st, maybe it's April Fool's Day. We don't know. Outriders for PlayStation 4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. On April 6th, you have a choice. Actually, on April 6th. Lost Worlds: Beyond the Page for PS4, X1, Xbox One, PC,
Lost
and Switch.
Words.
Damn it. Lost Words:
Yeah, it's some kind of play on words. Lost Words
Lost
Beyond
Words
the Page.
Beyond the Page. That makes more sense now than Lost Worlds
That's a
Beyond the Page.
great great title, by the
Yeah.
way. I think
Mhm.
that's
It is actually.
really
That's
good.
one of the. That is a good title. It makes sense. Odd World: Soulstorm is also out on April 6th for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC. On April the 8th, you get Before Your Eyes on PC. On April 9th, you get the Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel 4 on the Switch and PC. On April 13th, you get Poison Control for the PlayStation 4 and Switch. Ashwalkers comes out on April 15th for the PC. And then Saga Frontier Remastered. It's a capital S and capital G. I feel like that needs the emphasis. So Saga Frontier Remastered comes out on April 15th on the PlayStation 4, Switch, PC, iOS, and Android. So you know it's going to be a hit. On April 20th, there's a note here, weird because it's a Sony studio making a game for both platforms. That is interesting. You get MLB The Show 21. I can't imagine that's going to be much different than 20. On PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S. Atelier. What do you think, Shalene?
Atelier, yeah,
Atelier?
you did pretty well.
Yeah. Atelier, mysterious, Jesus. Atelier Mysterious Trilogy Deluxe Pack. Don't make a title of a video game impossible to pronounce, because it probably won't sell well. Anyway,
Just wait till you see what's coming.
PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC on April 22nd. On April 23rd. Now, see, this is an example of a very clean, very to the point video game title. On April 23rd, you get Judgment. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Stadia. There you go. Then you get Nier Replicant version. Oh, also on April 23rd, you get a doozy. This comes out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, and it is called Nier Replicant version 1.22474487139. Who makes this?
Press pound to confirm.
Jeez.
Another example of what not to name your video game.
Pretty much.
Oh, that is incredible. I'm sure there's some kind of significance to that. I have heard, I've never played the Nier.
Yeah.
It could just be a callback to like the amount of revisions that they've had to make
Mhm.
to make this damn game, and they were just so bitter when they finished it that they were like, "This is the 4 millionth version of the first version."
It's not even version
I
2.
know that you don't get like the first time you play through Nier, you don't get the real ending. You have to play through multiple times, and there are multiple different endings.
That sounds like a game I'll never pick up.
So I feel like this probably has some sort of significance.
Maybe.
Mm.
Well, there you go. April 29th, Total War: Rome Remastered comes out on PC. New Pokemon Snap on the Switch, April 30th. This is pretty cool. I loved the Pokemon Snap game for the N64. Did you guys ever play that?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, it was like a rail shooter, but instead of like shooting guns, you're shooting a camera, and you would take pictures of Pokemon as you like took tours through these levels, and then you would take Pokeballs and you'd throw balls in like some specific areas to try to trigger secret Pokemon to like appear, and then you'd have to take pictures, and you were like awarded like an I think like an F through an S rank depending on the picture, and like obviously the hardest one was Mewtwo, or Mew would do a spin, and like there was a very instant you had to get the right picture, and it was a lot of fun. I loved playing Pokemon Snap for the Nintendo 64. So
This sounds like a very Shalene game.
yeah, I'm surprised. Well, you didn't have a 64, did you?
I did have a 64.
Oh.
My first Pokemon was Pokemon Go.
Oh,
I've never
really?
played a proper Pokemon game.
Wow.
Now I didn't have like the Game Boy to play the Pokemon Red or Blue, but I did play Pokemon Snap, and I did play Pokemon. I can't remember. It was the Battle Arena for the 64 where you fought the Pokemon. But I loved Pokemon Snap. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, you would probably like this game. You should check it out.
Yeah, it sounds like something I would enjoy.
Yeah. Also,
I guess, yeah, I've played only side Pokemon games because I played Pokemon Go and I played Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, those are not the main.
I loved
canon.
Detective Pikachu.
That is very much It sounds like a Shalene game as well. But Shalene, you may have some competition on the 30th because there's 3 other games coming out that may sway you from
Oh,
playing
really?
new Pokemon Snap. You get R-Type Final 2 for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Switch. And then you get Returnal. Sounds like they couldn't figure out what exactly to name it. So they're like, Returnal. PlayStation 5 on the 30th, as well as Terminator Resistance: Enhanced on the PlayStation 5. So there's some competition from Pokemon
I
Snap.
know this isn't on the list, but did you see Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 is now coming?
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah, I think I
It'll
mentioned
probably
that
be a
on-
little while before I finish Puyo Puyo Tetris 1. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm only playing 1 or 2 levels a day.
I got an email notification of it from Terminals.io and
Yeah.
immediately thought of you.
I've
Yeah.
been enjoying the first one. It's a cute little visual novel story interspersed between Tetris levels. It's
Yeah.
been fun.
Yeah, so don't forget you can find those games on the various platform online stores, and perhaps also if you like to purchase your games in hard copy, you may also be able to get those at your local game store. But Sony will not be providing support in the near future, as they are reportedly closing their PS3, PSP, and Vita digital stores. Now, this news comes to us from Brendan Sinclair at GameIndustry.biz, who says that Sony is planning to close its online stores for those 3 platforms, according to a report this week from The Gamer. And the outlet cites that Sony will be most likely set to shut down these stores July 2nd. That includes the PSP and PS3 stores, and the Vita shop following that later in the summer on August 27th. No official report has been put out by Sony at this time, but the closure of these stores would mean hundreds of different games no longer available for purchase. It's not clear whether or not the existing owners of the games on those systems would be able to re-download them after the store's closures. Though we know that the legacy version of Sony's PlayStation Store currently at present lists approximately 393 full games for PS3, 1,002 Vita games, and 58 PSP games. And those numbers include games that also had a physical release as well as those that were only released digitally. So, I guess that these things just have to happen as companies grow and change and technology becomes more obsolete. Any thoughts from you guys on this?
I was surprised the Vita store was still up.
I was like, they're
I
still
feel
selling
like it's
PS3
maybe
games?
a little soon for the Vita store to close.
I thought
It's not a huge amount of people who still have Vitas, but there are still people who have Vitas, and a lot of Vita games are digital only. So
wasn't the Vita out before the PSP? I thought the Vita was the first one.
no, PSP was
Oh,
before
okay.
Vita.
Okay, I got those
Yeah.
confused.
I think I think our classic players will take a bigger hit. So the PlayStation Store also offers 211 PS1 classic releases and 231 PlayStation Minis that are only playable on the PS3, Vita, and PSP. So if you like to play those classic games, that's where I think you might run into some problems.
Yeah.
Well, my guess is you're going to see a lot of those titles soon on the PlayStation 5 and maybe probably the
possible.
PlayStation 5 store that you can buy again for the 3rd time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is part of why I've begun to buy physical games again. For a while I was like, yes, the all digital future. I don't want all these boxes in my house. But then I was burned a couple of times with not being able to play a game anymore because it was removed or something happened. Then I realized that there is some merit to having that physical disc.
The first time I got burned by that was when I loaded up Guitar Hero again after a long time, and Sarah had downloaded all of the DLC songs, and none of them were there.
Mhm.
It's like all that money was just kind of gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how dare they steal?
Well, a lot of these platforms are changing the way that we approach video games, and I think
Mm-hmm.
moving to these digital spaces is important, but it comes at a risk, I think. So
Yeah, the very concept of ownership is changing.
mhm.
We don't own our digital things. We have a license to use them for a while that can be revoked, and that's very different than owning a physical thing that
Yeah,
can't be taken from you.
quite
Mhm.
right. Yeah. Yeah, speaking of you know, platforms making changes, Microsoft is testing a new feature which would no longer require Xbox Live Gold for multiplayer in free-to-play video games.
Wonderful.
So
That's great news.
Microsoft, this article comes to us from VG247, written by Stephanie Nunelli. And she says that Microsoft is testing new features which wouldn't require an Xbox Live Gold subscription. Those that are currently available to Xbox insiders, such as Alpha Skip Ahead and Alpha, these features being tested are ones that would no longer require the Gold account in order to play those games. Microsoft has said that it is aware that the titles do not currently support free-to-play multiplayer testing, currently available in preview, but it's currently working with studios as the titles require an update to support this service change. Titles that currently are not supported include Destiny 2 and Call of Duty Warzone. However, the company is testing out also Party Chat and looking for groups, no longer requiring a gold subscription either, which are features that are being flighted ahead of the general availability. So, also mentioned in the alpha notes, Stephanie says that there is a fix that's been applied for users who could not enable HDR on console, and that this latest build will apply new firmware for Xbox wireless headsets that contains fixes for volume of status tones, which have been lowered and increase mic monitoring levels. So they're currently still working on those issues and trying to make it better for everyone.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like how they're like, all right, guys, we're gonna try this new feature out. It's gonna be crazy. Might break a few things. We're not sure yet, but we're gonna take away the boundary. We're gonna try to have players play games together for free, but it might break the system. Huh?
You know what? A change is
What?
as good as a rest sometimes, right?
How, okay. I don't. It's just dumb. It should not be difficult to implement.
Shalene, you seem particularly ecstatic about this new change. What do you think?
Oh yeah, this is a great thing. It's one of the things that has been sort of against console players for a long time is the fact that playing multiplayer, you have to pay a separate fee. That's not
Mhm.
something you encounter as a PC gamer.
Yeah.
Just to use the voice chat, you have to be a gold member. That's
Bull.
yeah, it's I understand that the infrastructure has a cost and that they have to pay for the service somehow, but it just doesn't make sense to me that the same game you have to pay on console but not on PC.
Yeah.
For the same game through the same company. Like, why do I have to pay to play Sea of Thieves on Xbox, but I don't on PC? That's silly.
I mean, it's just going to drive people to a different platform.
Mm-hmm. And I think that if they can eventually maybe move this into phasing out Xbox Live Gold altogether, I think that would be fantastic news for gamers, and especially for a lot of households where you're maybe not necessarily like the hardcore gamer who's playing all the new stuff, buying multiple games a month, but for people who are a little more casual and they play a couple of games a year, and families with children and people that can't afford as much, the cost of gold is the cost of a game. You could have an entire different game for the cost of the service.
Yeah.
It would be lovely if they could eventually phase that out altogether.
Yeah. The PlayStation phased that out in PlayStation 3, right? Like they did have like a pay to thing.
No.
Oh, I thought
They
did.
didn't have a paid thing, and then they introduced it during
That's right.
PlayStation 3, and it's still in effect. You have to have PlayStation Plus to.
Well,
speaking of, we forgot the free games with PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live.
we'll include them on the next show.
Okay.
Speaking of things phasing out, GameStop full year sales has been down 21% despite their uptick in stock price.
Shocker.
Yeah, profitable fourth quarter can't offset the rest of this retailer's pandemic-impacted year. The leading video game in-person shop in North America is reporting a fourth quarter of full-year earnings with numbers that are reporting losses and expecting further decrease in revenue. For the 3 months ended January 30th, GameStop posted net sales down 3% to $2.12 billion, but a net income nearly quadrupled to $80.5 million over the same span, probably because of the whole stock market thing. However, GameStop has temporarily done regional closures due to the pandemic for at least the last year, and for their fiscal year, which ended in January 30th, they reported net sales down 21% to $5.09 billion, with net losses of $215.3 million, which was actually considered quite a bit, but also an improvement over the previous fiscal year, in which GameStop actually reported a loss of $470.9 million, which is more than twice than what they lost in this pandemic year. So it's quite interesting. I think that the community specifically has pulled together for this company, but also the role in which it's played on the stock market has had quite an impact. CEO George Sherman announced that he is proud of how the entire organization has come together in 2020 to adapt to the challenging pandemic environment, effectively serving our customers' demand for gaming and entertainment products, and navigating through the year with strong liquidity and a strengthened balance sheet. And he also commented that the past year has also shown us to take steps to accelerate our de-densification efforts and streamline our store footprint, leverage our retail locations to provide same-day delivery and curbside pickups, and continue to enhance our suite of e-commerce platforms. So,
dude, I love that corporate jargon for the virus has really given us an excuse to lay a lot of people off and close stores that we really needed to close anyway, and we can blame it on the virus and not our sales loss. I really think the reason they didn't lose as much this year as last year is because more people are staying at home and playing video games is the only reason. The stock market, I believe, is completely irrelevant to the performance as a store. Their performance as a store is terrible, and I can't believe people are somewhat surprised to notice that a company that makes terrible choices also has terrible sales reports. I didn't realize there was a correlation. So anyway,
well, okay. So although the retailer has made no mention of guidance on the new fiscal year coming, GameStop this week made an SEC filing in which it confirmed that their chief customer officer, Frank Hamlin, was resigning from the company at the end of this month, and I quote, with good reason, and as a result is entitled to a severance package, including a lump sum of $2.06 million, and equity awards in GameStop stock. Puzzler. He will receive more than 221,000 shares that had been time vested, and could receive almost 145,000 more that were tied to performance targets, probably specific to his role. The GME stock, however, still has not returned to its historic range after the January short squeeze. and closed today at 181.75. We'll be commenting on that a little bit later, shortly here. And yeah, prior to the pandemic, they had this strategy to sort of overhaul GameStop and change the in-store experience. We've reported on that previously on GameStack. And they were talking about introducing new concepts around the culture and the atmosphere or environment within their stores, including social hubs that would be designed around esports, retro games, and different pop culture and things like that. So, I'm I think that this is going to be sort of an underdog thing. I think GameStop is just going to persevere through this whole pandemic. They're going to come out at the end of it, and people are going to think that they're just like this underdog that has just sort of prevailed. And I don't know.
Does this article mention Reggie Fils-Aimé stepping down from the board?
No, but we talked about that previously in an episode of GameStop, GameStack.
No, this just happened this week.
Oh, okay.
This probably happened after this article was written. Yeah, he had been appointed to the board, and I believe we reported on that in the past. But he stepped down from the board of GameStop as well. So.
Probably with also a very large severance package.
Likely.
So I hope, though, that this company does persevere and does prevail, because there's a lot of people that count on those paychecks to live and love video games. And it's not their fault that the CEOs and the board are terrible people. And they think that building esport and retro gaming centric, pop culture centric shops is new and exciting when it's really been going on for the last 15 years. But I really hope that they do. Because like if this place did go out of business and they didn't get bought up, that's a lot of people that won't have jobs. So I hope that they do come together and pull their heads out of their pixelated
and the other thing about it is that we're talking about GameStop employees that work on the ground. They're boots on the ground people, right? These are not just high profile developers that are working for Bethesda or Microsoft that if they get canned, they're going to get picked up somewhere else, right?
These are retail employees.
These are retail employees. The ability for them to find other work in a pandemic is going to be quite difficult. So,
or even in games, because what do they have? What do they have to go to? Like PacSun, Target, Walmart.
Target.
Like there's not another game
Amazon
store really. So,
well, speaking of high-profile video game developers leaving companies and getting picked up elsewhere, you guys remember Ikumi Nakamura?
Yes, she was the delightful woman at the Bethesda showcase.
Yes. Well, if you do remember, she was one of the lead developers or the lead director for Ghostwire Tokyo. And she ended up leaving Bethesda shortly after the announcement of Ghostwire Tokyo. And we have some new news that she has set up her own studio, and she is now in full development of her own games. So she was formerly part of Tango Gameworks and the lead designer for that company as well. But in a 17-minute documentary from GameSpark and Archipel, Nakamura discussed her career in which she talked about her time at Capcom on Okami and being the concept artist for Bayonetta to becoming the creative director on Ghostwire Tokyo. Yeah.
I didn't realize she worked on those games.
Yeah, this is another Stephanie Nanelli article from VG247. So thank you, Stephanie, for your time and putting this together and that we can share it on our show. Nakamura left Tango Gameworks in September 2019. And a few months after that, and her popular on-stage appearance at E3, her departure was actually due to health reasons. And she said in this documentary that when you get ideas and work in a team, there can be some problems that come with it. It arrived at the point it got my health. You can't make games if you're not healthy. I started wondering whether there wasn't a way for me to make games while feeling better. I took the decision to quit before it was too late. And then she also goes on to say, I was running away in a way. However, I believe that running away can be very positive. Rather than just stacking things upon oneself, I think that running away for something better is the healthier choice. And since leaving Tango, she has toured other studios, worked as a freelance artist as well, and has traveled around the world to visit various studios and meet new people. And she said, it was a chance for me to travel and to learn what made a good working environment. And from that, I decided to use that experience to open my own small studio and build my own intellectual property. And I want to try my hand at IP again in a studio.
Nice.
So the project that she's currently working on was not mentioned in this interview, but of course, I'm very excited to see what she has coming. I think that this is one of those stories that just kind of fills your heart. Obviously, she's a great human being, right? And she cares a lot about people as well as herself, but also making really good products. And I really admire. I admire the choice that she made.
Yes.
And in the interview, she identifies it as running away, but I don't really look at it that way. I think of it as making a life choice for yourself, and that it takes a lot of courage to do that. So yeah. Any thoughts?
Just excited to see what they come up with.
Yes, me as well. She's a creative force, that lady, and she's really interesting. I've enjoyed watching her social media accounts over the past few months and seeing her travel around, meeting people. It's been really interesting. I'd love to see her sort of vlogging her travels. I'd love to see that. But I definitely look forward to seeing what comes out of her studio. And I'm very, very pleased that she's taken that step to take charge of her own career in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, there is there's this culture that exists within all industries where people get pigeonholed. And sometimes it's not by choice. And when you realize that, you have the choice. You either stay or you go. And going means giving up everything that you have. And it's a big sacrifice to make. And it is scary. As somebody who left a $60,000 a year salary in a cushy job in a laboratory to go to graduate school where I was living below the poverty line and not making any money, huge decision. Was it scary? Heck yes. Am I better off for it? Absolutely. And would I do it again? For sure. So sometimes you got to make those tough decisions. So I admire her for that. This next story comes a little bit out of left field. I don't have a segue for this, but did you guys hear about Microsoft and what they're up to lately?
They're buying everything.
They're buying everything.
Add to cart, retail therapy. They can't be stopped. It's the pandemic. And some people have reacted by adding to cart. I mean,
well, they have their eye on Discord now, which we know historically anything that Microsoft buys usually ends up not as good as it once was. And this article comes from ZDNet. Microsoft is looking to buy Discord for more than $10 billion as soon as April, according to a new report. And
it's 1.3 Bethesdas.
Yeah, a number of independent reports claim that the San Francisco-based Discord, which is, as you guys know, a gaming focused social media company, now on Wall Street, not publicly traded just yet, is now being pursued by Microsoft. And I don't know how I feel about this.
Well, I mean, Skype was such an incredible success. I feel like we should be just thrilled,
And
right? Because
That's
Mixer was
uh,
brilliantly successful.
well, that's
uh,
the whole thing. It's like Discord, is optimized for game sharing and streaming and stuff, and they're gonna like, hey guys, we bought Discord and we put Skype in as the main way of sharing screens and sound, and it's gonna be awful. And it's just you're gonna like open up Discord one day, it's gonna be like now with Skype, and it's gonna just be terrible.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I kind of freaked out a little bit when I
Chat
read.
brought to you by Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, and then watch. There's gonna be like this pay model that you have to
Of course.
like get out of here, Microsoft. You're ruining everything.
wait, can I get achievements for chatting?
Now, I wouldn't say they were on everything, but there is a good. They buy so much stuff that we like that they can't do good with all of it. Not that anyone really
Mhm.
likes Skype.
But they
Or
don't do
Mixer.
good with any of it.
That's not true. But they need to stay away from Discord because Discord works so well as an indie.
I really like Discord being an independent.
Yeah, because it works.
company.
It works already. Like if they bought it, don't touch it. Just
Well, okay, so
Good
if
update.
Microsoft follows their established playbook, they will allow Discord to run mostly independently, as they have done with
yeah.
have done with LinkedIn and GitHub.
Those two aren't doing too bad.
So,
LinkedIn's a little-
but Discord is said to run its services on Google Cloud, but a move to Azure would likely take quite a while. But Azure, I don't know,
Azure.
whatever.
Azure?
Azure.
Yeah.
I thought it was
So,
Azure.
so
It's a color. Azure.
but
know
I
it's a
was
color.
reading some other articles about this, and Discord is like, no, we're not selling to Microsoft.
Oh, good.
So,
Hope not.
I think they would. I think Discord would be better off to do an IPO and list stock options and enter the market as an independent than they would to be bought out by Microsoft. So.
Yeah, I really like the way that Discord, because like there's a lot of things that make me worried. Like you have such, like they allow their API accessible to any developer that wants to build bots and stuff for it, and that's so
Yeah.
cool that you were able to like
Mhm.
customize and make your servers unique and special and build bots. That
Well,
are
here's
special.
another thing. Streamers and other gaming communities have built their entire community on Discord.
Mhm.
Yeah,
What would happen? What happens to that?
Microsoft would implement a paywall,
Right?
destroy
That's
all that.
like, so you can just, there's the door, Microsoft. You just go. Just go.
It would all go to Slack. That's
Like,
what everybody would
why
go
don't
to.
you take the billions of dollars that you have and invest it into something that you already have that is broken? Like your store?
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
There's a
that
good
that I don't
There's
like.
a good starting point. How about you fix your store? Because I'm still not
matchmaking?
sure which store I have to go to because I think there's two.
There-
Or
There
maybe
are.
there's three. I don't know.
There's
not
at
quite
least
sure.
2 storefronts to
Yeah, there
buy
is.
a Windows
so
game.
bad.
Yeah.
Now, though, with EA Play, you go into one of 2 stores, which leads you then to a third launcher.
And by that point, you have already bought the game 3 times, and you have to ask for 2 refunds, because you didn't know that you bought it the first 2 times. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm super bitter about this. Discord is a huge part of my social life
and our community.
and our community, but huge part of my social life, and I don't want to see that be compromised.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's the news. How about we talk about some stocks? Shalane, do you want to take us through our stocks this week?
I would love to. So this is the GameStock stock report as of closing 4 p.m. March 26, 2021. Of course, we report the prices in US dollars, and the plus minus spread is since our last episode 2 weeks ago. So this looks like a much more positive week than our last episode. Everything was just tanking. Everything was tanking last time. But this time, Sony is up $2.77 to 105.42. I'm still bitter about how well Sony did as soon as I sold it.
You're the
As soon as I
albatross
sold
around
my
their
little
necks.
Sony stocks, man, they just rocketed. Microsoft is up $4.14 to $236.48. Nintendo is at $73.12, up $1.98. Take-Two is at $174.29, up $4.50. Activision has climbed $1.55 to $92.40, and Ubisoft is up 62 cents at $63.70. EA is sitting at $132.85. That's up $2.82 from the last episode. Tencent is at $80.98, up $3.56. And GameStop is at $181 a share, down $2.75. But still just so much better than it was 6 months ago. This GameStop saga has been wild. It's just been wild.
Should have bought into it.
And we had talked about it. We thought about buying some GameStop when it was at like $6 a share.
Yep.
Well, I mean, yeah.
A buddy of mine did.
Did he?
Made a good chunk.
Did it go well? Oh,
Oh, yeah.
great.
So he took most of it out and put it in Bitcoin, which also is doing really well right now. Bitcoin in January was at 33,000 per Bitcoin, and now it's almost at 60,000 per Bitcoin.
Nice.
So, yep, fun stuff.
Yeah, thinking about all of that just makes me super stressful. Super stressed out. Yeah. But you know what takes away our stress? Video games, and that's
Beer?
what we're all here to talk about. And I'm going to go into that in our game science segment. I just love that bumper. It's like ridiculously too long and unnecessary.
Just waiting for it to be done. It wasn't.
So I did a little perusing in the video game archives of science. Maybe that's just what we should call this segment.
You have to put reverb on it though.
Yeah. Video game archives of science.
It's reminiscent of Bill Nye.
So good.
Did you know that?
So I found this article. It's written by Brenda Widerhold. It was published in the Journal of Cyber Psychology, Behavior, and Social Networking, and just recently published online, March 19. And she talks about video games and their role in kids' social lives. And so, you know, the last episode of GameStack, goodness. We had talked about like Roblox and the popularity of Roblox and the use of that to develop fine motor skills, etc. Social aspects of video games, you know, when we play games with other people, this involves interaction with other players. Sometimes when we play video games, not even with the same person on a call or the same person in a room, you can have interactions with other players in the world, etc. And, you know, sometimes that play can be simple or complex. It can be on console, it can be on mobile, it could be free or monetized. Defining those characteristics is entirely dependent on what allows video game players to communicate. And so some of the video games in which we play and work our way through actually help us solve problems, as I've talked about in previous segments. Others support more open-ended play in sort of a common, you know, shared interest and capacity building environment. Socialization opportunities provided by these specific games are really only limited by the imaginations of the people involved in playing them. Minecraft, for example, is a great example of human creativity. And during the pandemic, especially, people have found a lot of different creative ways, in-person socialization opportunities or playing video games together, to embrace the freedom of not being bound by geography or physical capabilities. And so this article that this editorial that she writes, she mentions that many people have found that, games like Animal Crossing New Horizons to be a very convenient venue for virtual events. And there was a lot of release dates that sort of coincided with the start of COVID-19 lockdowns. For example, Nintendo's record-breaking Switch game that tripled the company's profits, which allowed players to freely explore little tropical towns, gathering items, catching insects and fish, and talking about the different things in the game with their neighbors. But it's a good example of this built social environment, this virtual social environment that has sort of created that part of people's lives that was missing during the pandemic. But the other aspect of it is that socialization in video games is really good for child psychology and childhood development. Because they're more often engaging and interactive. There are other online activities such as streaming, video calls, single-player gaming, but they don't just provide entertainment, and some would argue maybe distraction, parents, but they also give children and adolescents a chance to learn by doing, but also to practice their social and emotional skills. And that they would otherwise not be able to exercise in real life right now, especially being in, physical distanced environments. So this has led children to have a sense of well-being during a time that would otherwise be considered very isolating and frightening. So, if you are listening to our show and you've got kids and you're trying to limit their screen time, maybe try negotiating to allow them a little bit more screen time if they're playing with friends, because it will promote their social well-being and provide them the opportunity that they would not have right now given the current pandemic. Many studies have found that playing video games, especially those that are social and collaborative, can lead to more pro-social behaviors. These are behaviors that are positive, helpful, and aimed towards more friendship and having social acceptance among children. Those experiences that social games provide result in young people who are more inclined to help one another in both online and real-world settings. And so, and then she also mentions, in addition, social video games can increase a person's exposure to people from different regions and cultures throughout the world, which I think we can all say with certainty that we have experienced that in some way or form. And
Absolutely.
I think that is probably one of the important pearls of this article, is that that exposure to other cultures and other people around the world is a really important factor for developing empathy and sort of forming your self-identity in a way, but also learning about other cultures, which can be incredibly humbling. So today's children and teens are really part of the technology sort of digital information age. And it might seem like the time spent in those digital environments is a little bit too much. But we have to remember that the circumstances should make for certain allowances for your children and your friends to spend time online, because it does leave room for social development. So there's also concerns, of course, increased screen time and overuse of devices in young people has been shown to have hindrances on our eyes and our biology and things like that, certainly with weight gain and inactivity. However, there are other instances in which playing video games shouldn't really replace in-person experiences. Even at the best of times, games should really be used as an adjunct, she recommends, to a face-to-face interaction. So, the pandemic is a perfect example of how that might be useful. Anyways, in the end, she says, social interaction between planning and creating different things within video games with classmates or friends or family members may look like the type of play that adults engaged in as children and might be regarded as something that would be considered a waste of time. But in today's day and age, it's actually incredibly beneficial. And we need to embrace that and realize that it's an important element in our lives, not just in children, but also adults. So, yeah, I thought this was an interesting sort of psychological piece of science that I wanted to share with you guys. And do you have any thoughts?
It's really interesting. It's
Yeah.
really nice. It's refreshing to see some science about the good, beneficial aspects of video games and how it can be socially beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everybody just wants to demonize um, the entire hobby of gaming as being something that isolates you, and that's not the experience I've had at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that this is an editorial, so it's sort of like she's reviewing a lot of different science, a lot of different articles from different areas of research, and that's why I thought it would be more appropriate to share that. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, that is game science. Let's talk about what we're playing. Rick, you want to go first?
Yeah, I've been playing a new game called Alex, Half-Life Alex. It's a VR game. It wasn't one of those games that was developed not for VR, then kind of VR was schwacked on it, like Fallout or No Man's Sky, things like that, or even Hellblade. But this game was developed from the ground up to be solely VR. So I have an HP mixed reality, and we've been streaming on this channel some Half-Life, and it's been a lot of fun. It's not perfect, but the how far it's come already is insane, and it is one of the most fun experiences I've had playing a game ever. It's thoroughly fantastic. The interactivity between you and the world is almost 1-to-1 to what it's like in real life. You can't put your finger through rolls of duct tape, but you can pick up the duct tape. It's almost 1-to-1.
You can wear a hat.
You can wear a hat. Yes, I picked up a hard hat and it snapped on my head. So I was very impressed about that.
I was so pleased.
You were. My particular VR set is not the best one. I'm still working out some kinks with it. Like today I was trying to play it and it kept glitching to where it locked the screen into the headset. So I couldn't like lean out and peek around a corner. The whole camera would go with me. So I'm still working out some kinks with that. It actually might be my rug. My rug is black and white and it works off of white light. So it might see my rug as fuzz and not know what to do with it. I don't know yet. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I really want to play more VR games, especially stream them. Like horseshoes, hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades, I think is the one where it's a silly sandbox game. Yes, Sullivan, the Russells are great. The Russells are the little gravity gloves. And I spent probably like a half an hour trying to toss a grenade into a hole because like the way that the game physics works, I was hitting my fan in my ceiling trying to like overhand it and then like trying to underhand
like
it
one of those
up.
rookie Marines that goes to throw the grenade, but it just
Dude.
drops at their feet, and then they like
literally did that.
Excuse me. Yeah. Oh my goodness. How many times have I done that? And then like if it's like beeping real quick, you can use the Russell gloves to like snap it to you and then throw it real quick. But it's such a fun game. It's so interactive and you can do all kinds of different things. And break stuff, and you can pick up magic markers and draw on the windows and things, and it's just a lot of fun. And the story is really cool too.
Mhm.
So like today I wasn't streaming or doing anything, and I got to the part where you're actually talking with Russell face to face, and I was standing there looking at him, and I'm like, wow, like it's such a crazy feeling to just be able to like walk around him, and he looks 3D but also depth, you know. It's just it's so crazy. Oh, and this time there's a hologram of the city on this table, and he goes, now pick up something to represent you on this hologram. And I walked over, grabbed a giant fan, went plunk, and sat the fan down. He goes, right, so that's you. But yeah, it's such a really cool game, you know. It's um if you have a VR and you haven't played it, it's one of those things you should definitely play. You should really play it. I hope to get more of the kinks worked out,
Yeah.
so we can play it more efficiently. I think I need a bigger room too, so I don't know what to do about that. I need to take like a foot off this desk that way. So
It's been really, really fun watching you play this game, and I've had the best time like trying to coach you to do things that I'm interested in. Like I'll ask him to poke something and see if it reacts. Or
yeah,
there was some mucus last time. I tried to get him to touch the mucus, but the mucus was not interactable.
no, my hand.
And wearing the hat, things like that. But I know that if I had the opportunity to play this game, it would take me hours because I would never just get to the story. I would spend every moment just appreciating the textures of the environment and interacting with things that don't matter, and smashing flower pots and tidying up rubbish.
Yeah,
There was
you
a
can sweep.
broom.
I
There
picked
was
up
a
a broom, and you could sweep sweep all the
I was
garbage.
delighted. I was utterly delighted to sweep the floor of this apocalyptic room. It was just, oh, so good.
Yeah, to check the cabinets, you open individual drawers of the cabinets to look in them. It's such a crazy way to play a game. So yeah, I highly recommend this game. Oh, I also like the wooden crate that I picked up and whipped to the
Yeah,
ground. I just went plunk and just kind of
that was
rolled.
so funny.
I shot it. I think someone clipped it too. I thought it was
I
funny.
think it was Tim.
Yeah. So I've been playing that. Also, since EA Play came out, I played one of the games that was a staple of mine for many years, on the Xbox 360, and that was Battlefield Bad Company 2. And why the hell they have not made a third one is just beyond my comprehension. Have either of you two played Bad Company 2?
No.
Okay.
I feel like I may have played a match or two way back in the day, but
The single player. All right. So, Shalene, you have Xbox Game Pass, right?
Mhm.
Do you, Vendor? Okay. So, Shalene, it's like 6 hours. It's not that long of a campaign. Put it on easy mode and just download it and play it, because it's basically um like it's a group of soldiers in modern day that it's comical. Like the four of them are comical. You have like the Sarge who's looking to retire and he's one mission away from retiring, and then there's you, the main character, who's just kind of like the standard soldier grunt. You have the geeky like heavy machine gunner guy always getting in fights with like the Texas like uber Republican dude. And there's this fun little back and forth, because the helicopter you find out is a hippie pacifist, that your pilot. And it's just it's the banter between everyone is so well written. And like if you start a mission, sometimes the guys will just kind of BS, and it's the funniest dialogue that you just sit there for like 10 or 15 minutes just listening to these guys riff. And you're like, oh my gosh, like why haven't they made another one? The sound was amazing. The gameplay was fun. Every single building was destroyable. You could level buildings.
wow.
And then the dialogue and story was a lot of fun. Like what happened to Battlefield? They're all terrible. And I remember when Battlefield 5 came out with the first trailer, and you saw like the chick that had the fake arm, and everyone kind of thought, oh my goodness, could this be Bad Company but in like World War II? Because that would be like Kelly's Heroes, you know what I mean? That'd be so cool. And no, nothing like that at all. That chick wasn't even in the game. So it just was, I don't know what happened to the Battlefield franchise, but they need to take a page out of that playbook and play that game again and learn from it. Because my goodness, it was great.
Mhm.
It was great. So yeah, those are the 2 games that I've been playing.
Lovely.
Well, I finished off the Fishtival in Sea of Thieves, which was a little
Catch
bit.
all the fish.
It was a little anticlimactic. I mean, Hunter's Call is one of my favorite factions, and I've been wanting Sea of Thieves. I've been wanting Rare to sort of beef that up.
Mhm.
And I just kind of caught the last fish, and that was it. That was it. And I was like, huh.
That's a
So
bummer.
I got a bunch of different fishing rods from it, but I don't like any of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So-
not the best.
Yeah, I don't know. Fishtival was a little disappointing.
But maybe the real reward was the fish we caught along the
The
way.
journey.
The journey. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Yeah.
It's not about catching fish, it's about the casting.
Yeah. So it was still a nice time to focus on getting those fish and stuff. I would like to see more of that kind of
Mhm.
thing. I would like them to sort of beef up Hunter's Call, but yeah, I haven't hopped into Sea of Thieves since then because Farm Sim has taken over my life again. I'm back into growing sunflowers and soybeans and oats and grass and
I want screenshots of the sunflowers when they've bloomed.
okay. Yeah.
When do you stream this?
I haven't streamed. Well, I've been streaming it a little bit each day,
Okay.
like in the evenings. But yeah, I've just been kind of putzing around, and we started on this map called Somewhere in Canada,
Oh,
and it's literally you're just somewhere in Canada, like it's this unknown place. I have a feeling that it is somewhere west of Calgary before the Canadian Rockies. So I think it's on like the southern slopes of the Canadian Rockies per se, which is really interesting. There's a Tim Hortons, and you can go through the drive-through, and the menu is fully rendered.
can you go through the drive-through like in a tractor?
Yes. I went through the drive-through in my lawn tractor, my riding mower.
That's
How long do you have to
wonderful.
wait for service?
For like 5 kilometers an hour. Yeah, there is no animation for like welcome to Tim Hortons. What can I get you? There is no animation for that. I wish that there was because that would just make it-
Disappointing.
yeah. There's also a Wendy's and a Kroger, and there's a couple other businesses. There's a Dollar General, which I think is more of an Ontario thing.
You have those up there?
Yeah.
Gosh, they're like herpes, man.
I went to one in California. I don't recommend it.
They're everywhere.
They sold
down here.
food. Like they had
Oh,
yeah.
they had produce. And I was
Oh, yeah,
like,
it's-
"What?"
It's very much a discount grocery store in mostly lower income areas.
Yeah,
Yep,
it was an
that's how
interesting
they-
experience.
and they're everywhere, and they just
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was kind of cool. I've got my little farm. I've got a dog and a couple shops.
What's your
and some
dog's name?
tractors. I don't know. I had to send him back to the kennel cuz I think we needed like an exorcist because he was like levitating.
Oh dear.
And then at one point he was like upside down and on the ceiling.
Oh,
And I was like,
Spider pig,
okay, you're
spider
going
pig."
back into the box. Like,
Sonny, go get the shotgun. Lassie's
yeah,
gotta get
we're
to
going to take him out back and
Old Yeller.
yeah, it's a pretty good map. It's a modded map, so it's not without its bugs, but I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, so Farm Sim. I've also dived into a new game that just dropped yesterday. It's called The Bus.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's a sim-based game, and it's about driving a city bus, kind of like City Bus 18 or the was it City Bus 18 or Bus Simulator 18? The one Rick got me a couple years ago for
Mhm.
Christmas. But this one is it's in early access, so it's set in Berlin. Everything is friggin' German, so I don't understand a word of it. But it's still just as entertaining, and it's rendered quite nicely. The graphics are pretty darn good. It has the same feeling as Felsbrunn, which is the coach simulator game that I've played, like those coach buses.
Mhm.
Except it's city buses. So people, they're waiting and then they get on and they give you a tick.
Ah.
They give you they want to pass and you got to give them the change and count the change out and yeah. So it needs a lot of work. I don't know if I can justify the $35 that it costs for early access. I think I might return it, but excited to see where that goes.
Have you you ever heard of the sim game called Desert Bus?
Yes. No.
Dubbed as the worst game in history. Penn and Teller were behind this game called Desert Bus, and you drive a bus from Tucson to Las Vegas, I believe. It takes 8 hours. It's pretty much just a straight shot because it's like the actual road. Tucson. But you like sim games, I mean.
Yeah, that's a little different.
It's in VR now.
Wow.
That sounds amazing. I
It's
feel
like-
like we should stream that.
It was out for the Sega, so it's like all pixelated, but it's in VR now.
Yeah. Anyways, that's my gameplay. What about you, Shalene?
Of course, I have taken solace in Animal Crossing, as I'm sure you're all really tired of hearing about by now. I've been redecorating my little house. My basement I had done in a bunch of frozen furniture, like ice chairs and icy floor and all kinds of ice themed furniture. But I've decided that I'm done with that. It's springtime now, so I tore everything down, and I've redone the basement as a little forest woodland grove, which is very precious. It's really, really cute in there. I like it quite a lot. It feels like I'm in a fairy tale when I'm in there, so that's lovely. And my living room, I try to keep seasonal. So I took down Valentine's Day and I'm putting up Easter in there. But I find that I've apparently sold all of my Easter stuff from last year. So I'm gonna have to wait for the Bunny Day event to start. So and a little bit of 76, doing my Raider dailies, trying to max out my Raider reputation and trying to clear out my script. Man, I have so many legendary weapons that I'm just not using. It's ridiculous. A little bit of Puyo Puyo Tetris, still enjoying that. I think we mentioned that earlier in the show.
Yep.
And the biggest part of my gaming time has gone into this really it's not a game that a lot of people have played. I mean, you don't hear people talk about this one. It's very, very rare. I don't know if you've even heard of it. It's called Skyrim.
Oh my
What's that
gosh. Ridiculous. Get out of here.
Yes, I know. I started a new Skyrim game on my Xbox Series X. It looks fantastic on the Series X. Game Pass has the special edition version or whatever. So I'm playing that. It's been a lot of fun. I'm trying to play as a mage. I usually do like one-handed weapons, but I thought it would be really fun to go as a like straight up mage this time. Just using
Mage is my favorite playthrough.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I've never that's awful. I've never done a mage playstyle with like wearing robes instead of armor, and so I feel like I'm gonna try and just role play it as a mage.
So fun.
The mage is so OP.
It does get
Yeah.
so boring because you walk into a thing and you're like, ugh.
You walk
Everybody's
in
dead.
and everybody's like, they just fall to the floor because you're like,
Yeah.
I'm magic.
It's like that. It's that scene in Austin Powers where like the one guy walks up to Michael Caine. He's like, "What you do? You don't even have a name tag. Just lay down. Lay down."
Just lay down.
If you
That's
do
so
like
good.
if you do like the mind control, like have things attack other things, and then you just like fireball them after they're all done. It's crazy.
I'm
It's
looking
crazy.
forward to trying out some of those different things. I think there are a lot of spells that I've just never even tried in Skyrim.
Illusion and alteration. You could just
Yeah.
sit there and spam that stuff and build it up. It's a lot of fun to do it though.
And-
The only spell that I ever really used a whole lot was the one that casts a little light, like the mage light.
Mage light, yeah.
That's the only one that I ever really used much, because I didn't have a flashlight. But yeah,
I'm surprised it wasn't
it's-
healing.
it's really fun diving back into Skyrim. It's been a while. There are new achievements because this is the special edition version. So yeah, that's a whole thing. It's crack to me. It's like crack.
Mhm.
And I'm really enjoying it. It's been fun. So
Great.
also, guys, if anybody has any recommendations, because the special edition version has got mods and Creation Club. So if anybody wants to recommend me some mods or some Creation Club content, send me a message, tag me on Twitter or whatever.
How great is the soundtrack?
So good.
Um,
Really good.
I'm still convinced the Oblivion theme was better.
Skyrim is so good.
I've never played much Oblivion. I've gotten out of the sewers once.
The world is
I-
just so much
yeah.
better than Skyrim's world.
Yeah.
In a way that I mean, I shouldn't say it's better. It's different. There's more. Like in Skyrim, sometimes you find yourself in like a cave where there's only like one room, and you're like, oh, this is a nice little cave. There's a couple bones, and you leave, right? In Oblivion, you walk into a little cave, and you're like, yeah, it's a tiny little thing. There's a little. What is that behind the bush? And you look, and hidden in a crevice in the wall behind this bush is a button, and you hit it, and then the wall goes down, and there's a giant alien ruin with like puzzles. And you're like,
That sounds amazing.
whoa, yeah, and like that's how Oblivion just is.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. Like the pandemic's gonna end, and I'm just gonna wake up in a wagon, handcuffed.
So
Hey,
you're finally
you.
awake, and you can just
Finally
hear me
awake.
like, yeah.
I'm excited to hear all of your Skyrim stories.
Yeah, I made a Breton. And yeah, she's fabulous. She's real cute. So
The
That's
Dwem is
matters.
it the Dwemer? Dwemer?
Dwemer?
the Dunmer. Do you mean?
Dunmer?
Well,
What are
Dwemer.
you talking about?
Dwemer.
Dwemer.
Like the
Dwemer is the Dwarven Ruins.
the Dwarven ruins were my favorite.
Yeah,
always.
Oh,
Dwarven
yeah.
Ruins. Yeah,
Amazing. Yeah.
so good.
I love finding the Dwarven Forge. That whole quest is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, pretty much stole that from Lord of the Rings, but that's okay. I mean The Hobbit. What? Well, that's a show, everyone.
I've one more thing.
Okay.
One more thing. I found real quick that Desert Bus is free to play on Steam. Takes a minute to download. And I want to blow your mind, vendor, with the description for the simulation game. The user-defined tags for this game. Oh, wait, let me read the synopsis. Desert Bus is back and better than ever. The 1998 Penn and Teller cult hit minigame is coming to in virtual reality, so you can fully immerse yourself in the thrilling 8-hour trip from Arizona to Nevada. It's almost like you're driving the wheel thing. It said that, not me.
Brilliant.
The user-defined tags for this game are automobile sim, free to play, and psychological horror. Let's see here. Desert Bus is better than ever. It's back. You can also play it in standard digital reality if you don't own a VR headset. The features are put the pedal to the metal, show everyone who rules the road as you take the wheel of a commercial passenger bus with blistering speeds up to 45 miles an hour and a prominent passenger side misalignment. Only the hardest drivers can make it to Nevada and back. Archie mentioned it. It constantly pulls to the right.
I feel like all three of us need to play this and then bring it back to the next episode of GameStack.
It's so
Getting
good.
towed has never been more fun. Experience the realistic consequences of driving off the road with a tow service that takes you back to the start in real time. Play nonstop for hours of amusement. Enjoy the action-packed 8-hour road trip from Tucson to Las Vegas. When you make it to Nevada, turn around and do it all again. Fill out the Cushing oppressive silence. Fill the crushing oppressive silence. Tune into a variety of engaging radio programs, one featuring the dulcet tones of Penn Jillette himself. You can even turn the radio on and off. Now, here's oh wait, no, sorry. Learn what it's like to be the real bus driver with exciting gameplay that allows you to honk the horn and open the bus door. Tap the fully interactive air freshener for some hardcore pine-scented action. It also says the purchase of an air freshener required for full effect. It also has multiplayer. Play with up to 4 friends in Desert Buses
Can I ride
VR.
in the bus?
I'm talking. Play with up to 4 friends in Desert Bus VR's groundbreaking new multiplayer mode. Passengers can sit, wave, and even throw wads of paper at the driver.
Okay, well, you've got the VR unit, so I vote you play it and report back to us.
This was developed in
I
part by
want to play
Gearbox.
with you, so I can ride in the bus and throw wads of paper.
Have any of you done that drive from Arizona to Nevada?
No.
It's terrible. It is
I think
awful.
that's the joke.
It's terrible.
I have not driven from Arizona to Nevada, but I live in New Mexico, 100 miles from groceries. I can crush this game.
You probably could, but yeah, it was remastered by Gearbox, so it's not so pixelated anymore.
Yeah, an 8-hour drive is child's play when you live where I live.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that's
Well,
everything. I just wanted to point that out because it's funny.
Fascinating. Thank you for that fine assessment, Rick. That is a show, everyone. Thank you for listening. Don't forget, next Friday, That Fallout Show, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames. You can also catch Josh E. Theater on Monday at noon Pacific Standard Time. Also, this Sunday, a continuation of The Medium with Rick and Shalene at what, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard?
Yeah, it's no. Yes.
3,
4 p.m.
2 p.m.,
4
4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Mountain Standard. So right here on twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames. Also, in our Discord community, if you're not already there, make sure you join. Sunday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I will be continuing on Carl Sagan's Demon Haunted World in the Book Nook channel. You can email us at info@wejustlovegames.com. You can find us on Twitter at WeJustLoveGames, Shalene at ShaleneL, Rick at Rick McVick, and myself at VendortronN. We also, unfortunately, have a Facebook presence, facebook.com/WeJustLoveGames, facebook.com/groups/WeJustLoveGames. We're also on Discord, as we mentioned numerous times. We are live 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames. We're also on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Please like, subscribe, and review the show. Thank you all for listening. And Shalene, have you got a last word?
You've been to the Cloud District. What am I saying? Of course you haven't.
Good night, everyone.